Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the fourth episode of this series. In this episode, we will design the onboard screen and the login screen. So open your last saved work. Let's get started. The first thing to do is to duplicate my previous artboard and rename it. Next, I will delete everything in this new artboard. Now, I need to import some illustrations for my onboard screens. Let me show you where you can get some good free illustration. This website is called illustrations.co. You can find and download some free illustrations from this website. Here's another one, freepik.com. In this site, you can simply search for free illustration. For example, let's type restaurant. As you can see, here are free restaurant illustrations you can download for free. Then the last one on my list is called ondraw.co. Once you find your desired illustration, you can import it into your artboard. Now let's create our background. Remove the border. Give it a background color to something very light. Let's make the illustration visible by bringing it to the front. Then rename the rectangle to BG for background. Let's create our title. Select restaurant. Change the font to quicksand. Change the size and the style. Now let's add a description. I'll just import the one I previously typed. Once that is done, let's create our active screen indicator. Click on the over tool, drag to create a cycle, remove the border, change the size and the color. Now press your Shift and Alt key in your keyboard, drag to the left to duplicate. Reduce the opacity of the duplicated cycle. Now we group and rename. Let's add this to our component folder and make it a component so that we can reuse it anywhere. Now copy and paste this indicator somewhere below. Then align it properly. Then let's create the next button. To create this next button, you just need to draw a cycle, resize the width and the height to 25 pixels. Then you remove the border, add a fill color to it. Then you can import the forward arrow using the plugin we installed previously. Now let's add this button to the component folder and convert it to a component so that it can be easily reused. We also need to create a skip button, add it to the component folder and make it a component as well. Then copy and paste it somewhere below. And that's all for the first onboard screen. So we create a second onboard screen. Duplicate this onboard screen. Import your illustration. Rename your artboard. Then type your title and description. Just to show you how components work, I will change the color of this next button, and you'll see it apply the change to all the buttons where it's being used. You can see that's why it's important to use component always, because it makes it easier to edit. Imagine if you have almost 50 pages or 50 screens, it will be so difficult if you don't use components. But with component you can easily make changes from one place, and the change applies to all the places it's being used. Okay, now design the last onboard screen. Duplicate this artboard and rename it. Import your illustration and type your title and description. You don't need to delete the active screen indicator or the skip or next button, since it's a component, and that's basically it. Now we just create our login screen. Duplicate this artboard and rename it to login screen. Delete everything. Create a background using the rectangle tool. Remove the border. Change the background color. Add a background blur effect. Apply the following settings to it. Let's import the back arrow icon from the plugin. Resize the arrow. Change the color. Now create a sign-in title. Change the font to quicksand. Resize it and change the color. Now we import our logo from the component. Once that is done, we're going to create a login form. Draw a rectangle shape. From the inner node, let's reshape the edge. Click and drag inward. Reduce the opacity. Now let's create a placeholder for the input. Type mobile for mobile input. Change the font, change the size, and align it properly. Also change the color. Let's duplicate this mobile placeholder and rename it to password for the password input. Realign it properly. And now let's make this a component and add it to the component group. Now copy and paste it where it's needed. Let's rearrange it and align it properly. We need to create the login button now. Draw a rectangle, remove the border, and resize it. Change the color, add it to the component group. Now convert this to a component. Now let's copy and paste it. Align it properly. Use the text to type login. And resize. change the text color. Now we rearrange all of this by grouping and renaming it. And that is it. We just finished the first phase of our UI design. Amazing. Congratulations. Now to make this design interactive, we need to add a little prototype to it. To do this, click on the prototype button here. Then select the first screen, which is the splash screen. Use this arrow button to connect it to the next screen. Now let's change the properties. Under the trigger, select tab. On the tab, leave it as transition. Under destination, leave it as it is. Under animation, select slide left. Then you can leave the rest the way it is. Now let's click on the next button. Drag this pointer to the next screen. No need to change the properties because it still carries the settings of the previous one. Click on the skip button, point it towards the login screen. Now let's repeat this process for the rest of the screen. And that is it. Let's preview our work. Click on the play button. Congratulations, you just created a professional UI design. In the next video, we will move forward by designing every other screen. For now, thank you for watching. And if you enjoy this content, let me know by liking this video. I'll appreciate it. If you're not yet a subscriber, subscribe somewhere below and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time I release a content. Once more, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next episode.